Hey everybody, since it's coming up on the holidays, I thought it would be a great time to give you some great picture book recommendations. I'll be doing several other gift idea videos, I'm sure. Normally our family waits until after Thanksgiving to decorate here, but we needed Christmas faster than that. So we went ahead and decorated, and that makes me really happy because Christmas is one of my favorite things. Probably just because everybody seems to be thinking about kindness a little bit more, and I get a chance to give and make presents for people. So anyway, that said, I wanted to go ahead and jump in with some of my very favorite recommendations for picture books. So this first one I'm going to give you is my all-time favorite. So even if you are not a child or don't know a child, I would recommend it to anybody who is a book lover because it's great. And it's The Fantastic Flying Books of Mr. Morris Lessmore by William Joyce. He did also the Rise of the Guardian series, if you're familiar with that. And it's just such a good one. Basically, Morris Lessmore is a man who lives kind of a dreary black and white existence. No color in it. And he meets this lovely lady who throws him a book. And we actually have a picture in my daughter's room of a little girl being carried away by a bouquet of books because this is my favorite. And I really appreciate the story because it talks about how important our stories are, not just our books, but our own lives and what we give to other people. As he becomes more familiar with books and becomes colorized, he gives books to other people and they also get color to them. So I just really appreciate the idea of legacy. I cry at the end of it every time we read it. My kids normally have had to start finishing it because I just can't. It's so beautiful. So that's my first pick. My second pick, I do have a Christian faith. I'm a little bit more open than some on it might be. But this is a really beautiful story because I think it's really important for someone who grew up with a creation narrative of a divine being to be able to identify with it. I think that's really important. And a lot of times we get that whole old white man God, and that is not what I want my kids to grow up with. So any chance I get to expose them to other ideas of what God looks like, I take it. And for me, oftentimes I refer to God as like a divine love. Divine presence of love. And yeah, I don't want the he all the time. So this one I love, and I've given it as a gift several times. It is When God Was a Little Girl, and it's by David Weiss, and it's actually illustrated by a friend of one of my friends. And in this book, this little girl, it's got a lot of multicultural illustrations, but she asks her dad to tell her a story about when God was a little girl, and he does. And so her dad tells her the creation story with God as a little girl, throwing colors around and using all of her feelings to create something really beautiful in the world. So I just think it's a really, really an inventive way to talk about a creation narrative without doing the old thing that I don't want to be done all the time. So I really like that one. The next book is One Cool Friend, and the rest of them are in no particular order. So it's by Toni, Buzzeo, and pictures by David Small. And this is just kind of a fun picture book. Let me go ahead and tilt this a little bit so you don't have the light. It's a fun picture book about this boy who's very fancy, and he doesn't really fit in with the other kids, but he goes to the zoo and finds the perfect pet for him, and it's a penguin because he's in a formal tuxedo. And he talks to his dad about getting money so he can get this pet. And his dad gives it to him, but he doesn't realize that he's getting a real penguin and not the stuffed one at the gift shop. So you kind of go through the book, and I don't want to give away the end because it's great, but it's just kind of a fun way for people to find somebody or something that they're passionate about that they identify with. And the illustrations are very clever, especially if you go back through at the end and you look through them. You'll kind of catch some clues as to the end, and I love it. The next one is actually a series, and we have 3 of the 4. And it is My Name is Not Isabella. And it's the story by Jennifer Fosberry, pictures by Mike Litwin. And we also have Isabella Girl on the Go, which is about travel, and Star of a Story, which is about literary heroines. And I love these. Isabella, the first one, is a little girl talking to her mom about pretending to be all different heroines that she really identifies with. So she talks about, my name's not Isabella, I'm Marie, I'm a scientist. Or my name is not Isabella, I'm Rosa, I'm an activist. And I love exposing children to different heroes. I grew up with reading nonfiction a lot, and so I really appreciate great heroines and great heroes for boys and girls to look up to. So yeah, My Name is Not Isabella is a great one. I actually got one as a copy for a present to send to somebody. I'm not going to tell you who. So next one is one we actually have hidden at our house a couple times this week because my daughter is obsessed. And it's Caps for Sale. And I cannot say his name, but it's Esphyr Slobodkina. I'm really sorry if you know how to say this correctly. Please, yeah, I need a pronunciation guide on this one. And it's just kind of a silly story about a man who sells lots of hats and has a run-in with some mischievous monkeys. And there's a little bit of repetition, but she really loves it because she gets to repeat some of the words that she's gotten more familiar with. And everybody knows, if you're a Curious George lover, any book that has a mischievous monkey in it is golden, because every little kid wants somebody else getting in trouble, not them. So the next one I really love because the illustrations, but it's also just a cute story. It's called The Adventurers by Rachel Elliott, illustrated by Valerie Decampo. And they're so pretty. And it's just talking about going on an adventure and traveling the world. And actually, my daughter's room is actually book and travel themed because we like that. So yeah, this one's just kind of a cool one about going on an adventure. This next one is by a writer-illustrator that I love. We've liked everything that he's done, checked out everything from the library several times, and it's Chris Van Dusen. He wrote If I Built a House, If I Built a Car, King Hugo's Big Ego, or Huge Ego, Circus Ship. Sorry about the light, guys. It's kind of a weird time of day. But he just has the most imaginative stories. Randy Riley's home run hit, that kind of thing. He just has such a fun way of telling a story. Makes you feel like as a kid you can invent things and do really important things to help other people. But the illustrations themselves are just really beautiful. He has like a slide going down, and I think I love the house book probably the most because I remember drawing blueprints when I was little of, well, even not when I was little, I think in high school. I even probably drew my dream house. And it's just kind of a cool thing for kids to imagine. This next one I'm actually giving also as gifts. Elephant and Piggie by Mo Willems. This is our favorite beginner reader story series because there's simple illustrations, lots of repetition. Gosh, I can't talk today. And speech bubbles with some sight words that are really important. But the best thing I like about it is as a grown-up, I haven't gotten tired of them, which is a miracle. And neither has anybody else that we've given this book to. There's tons of them, and they're all hilarious, and they don't get old. And so I really recommend Elephant and Piggie. I think one of my favorites is We Are in a Book. It's just pretty great. Yeah. The next one is Nobody Likes a Goblin, and this is by Ben Hatke. He is another writer-illustrator that I adore. He did Zeta the Space Girl, which is a graphic novel if you've got older kids. He did this one, and he also did Julia's Home for Lost Creatures. And the illustrations are beautiful. It talks about friendship and loyalty, and kind of they're a little bit of outsiders. And what's kind of cool is if you're a part of geek culture, you can kind of recognize some of the different tropes that are in it. And it's adorable, but it's really super sweet. And of course, the underdog gets to win, and I love underdog stories. So rounding up towards the end, guys, so we're getting close. I think I have 4 left. Block City, and this is our copy. It's by Robert Louis Stevenson, is the poem writer, but there's several other copies of this. But this is ours, and it's well loved. Block City was my brother's favorite book when he was a boy, and so I have kind of a special place in my heart for it. But I like any chance you can get to do poems in books because I think it makes it a lot easier for kids to memorize. You've got the beautiful language there, but you also have some beautiful illustrations to accompany it and kind of get their imagination running. It makes poetry a lot less intimidating, and I really appreciate any time you can do that. This next book, we have hide again. Yeah. This is Not a Hat, and this is by Jon Klassen. He also did Sam and Dave Dig a Hole, a couple of other different ones. But yes, my toddler has latched onto this one, and it is really funny, but we've had to read it about 30 times a day. So she can read it to us, and she's not even 2 yet. So basically he is a thief, and he steals a very big fish's hat, and it's a matter of him trying to escape and get away with it. And I'm not going to tell you if he does, but it's funny, it's clever, and it's pretty short. So yeah. This next one is another one that I adore, and I think it's a great gift to give because it's inspirational and beautiful. And it's Barack Obama's Of Thee I Sing, A Letter to My Daughters, illustrated by Loren Long, which I think she did the Otis books, if I remember correctly. But I like this one because he goes through all different nationalities of people. There's Albert Einstein, there's Sitting Bull, Jackie Robinson, and talks about character traits that are important. And he's telling his daughters that they can grow up to be American with this trait, just like this person or this person. And yeah, again, I love heroes. I'm a sucker for heroes and heroines to look up to. And so I really love this book, especially right now. It celebrates diversity. It celebrates good character. And I think it's really necessary. Then we have Duck at the Door by Jackie Urbanovic. My goodness, today. And this is just, I have a sentimental place in my heart for this one because it's about a duck who decides not to fly away south for the winter and ends up getting very cold. And so Irene and all of her animals take him into their house, and he lives with them through the winter. And he's kind of becomes a nuisance because he doesn't really know how to do that. But when he leaves, they miss him. And yeah, later on he does return and comes back with more. And I think it's just a great story of hospitality, which is important. But it's sentimental for me because we had, well, she's adopted family for us. One of my youth that I mentored, I claim her as a sister, and she's now in Ireland. But before she left, this was the last bedtime story she read for my kids before she left. And it just really makes my heart swell because when she comes home, she brings her extra new family with her. And yeah, that's how hospitality works. Your family gets bigger, not smaller. So, and this last one that I'm going to show you right now is The Peace Book by Todd Parr. And Todd Parr also, he does no wrong. I love him. They have simple, fun illustrations, very colorful, very short, easy for kids to memorize, so they feel like they're participating in the reading process. And great values about inclusivity and accepting differences and celebrating them. And I love him. We need to get more Todd Parr at our house. So yes, this is our second copy of this book. So those are my favorite picture books that are short readers. I will be doing some more recommendation videos. If you have suggestions or you need to know what to buy for a certain person, or you have a kid that has a certain interest in mind, let me know in the comments. I actually feel like I've been exposed to way too many children's books, not in a bad way, but I would love to help you with gift giving. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'll be doing some more videos like this in the future. Talk to you guys later. Bye.